Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Starladder Season 10. We're here with the EU Division, day number 2. We're getting kicked off with a big one, El Clasico, Alliance versus Navi. Of course, they're slightly different rosters than we remember from previous seasons, but El Clasico still. I'm Zyori, in the studio, joined remotely once again by Cinderin. Sind, how are you today, sir?
It's not really morning for me, so I guess I'm a little bit more awake than you. You sound a little bit rusty, but
Oh no.
I guess you're gonna be all good after the draft. It always takes a little time to warm up your voice, and I guess you haven't had anyone else to talk to this morning but yourself.
I talked to Brian a little bit. We were up
did.
talking about Dota and El Clasico, and there were rumors of him joining us to do stats, but we had some technical issues in the studio, so he won't be joining us for Game 1 at the very least, but part of the reason we're still getting in here, SEA ran right up to EU today, so I had to scramble to get the stream online, so sorry we missed the very beginning of the draft here, folks. But at least we're here on time, and ready to rock and Roni. So, Cinderin, without any further ado, let's talk about this draft as it's more than halfway done.
Yep. Like you said, it is a very classic matchup between these two, and so far the picks also seem pretty standard for both sides. Of course, Navi with 2 new players. They have announced FNG and Vanscore replacing Puppy and Kuroki, and Alliance with the 2 stand-ins, Misery and Chessie here. We saw we saw 2 games of Alliance yesterday. They performed really well, and I think Bulldog was playing a great Faceless Void. They had Aki on the Witch Doctor, and then the Prophet I don't think they had yesterday, or maybe they did have it in one game against Cloud9, actually, I think. So, but it's probably not going to be a Bulldog Void this game, seeing they have the Prophet. That's kind of his trademark hero. But bans are pretty straightforward as well. A lot of top-tier bans here. Razor, Batrider ban against Navi in particular is not surprising. They play it all the time. We've got Brew and Lycan against Alliance. And then finally Naga and Viper against Alliance with Shadow Shaman and Shaker against Navi.
Yeah, nothing too crazy. This Navi draft can sort of go 2 different ways. They could go for mass teamfight, or they could go for mass pushing. And maybe they're still trying to decide exactly how they want to tackle this draft here as they spend some of their bonus time on the 3rd pick. But one of the good things about picking a DP second is you have some of that flexibility with whether you want a team fight, push, or maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, there's a lot of options right now, and it's kind of hard to say which direction Navi are going to take this in, just because they don't have the Batrider that we've seen like every single game. So it's going to be another hero for Funnick. The one thing they have got going for them is that they're on the Radiant. So as far as the offlane goes, I feel like the Radiant just has way more options as what you can choose to go for. Generally, Funnick likes to play early game impact offlaners, so that's why the Batrider is great for him with the Lasso. He likes playing Clockwork. I think something along the lines of a Centaur could also be a good choice, or the Doom, which actually, wow, it went through 2 phases of bans and the first 2 picks, or the first pick of the 2nd phase. Alliance willingly giving away Doom very late. This is very unusual, actually.
Yeah, Doom is very often banned out in that first couplet, and if not, he's been, I think, even just looking in the context of yesterday, he was first picked in a couple of matches. So a great hero to deal with the Void, especially once he gets a Blink Dagger. If you can get the jump on Void and take him down before he pops the Chrono, certainly good stuff. Also has an interrupt to deal with Witch Doctor if he has a level death available when that Death Ward is channeling about. But yeah, a little surprised to see Navi scoop up a 3rd pick Doom for sure.
It's very unusual these days. This would have not been that unusual a while before TI4. But TI4 and onwards, Doom has pretty much been a top pick. He was also a top pick before that, but not constantly a first phase pick or ban. But he's been that for a very long time. But
yeah,
perhaps falling a little bit out of favor. I don't want to judge it from one game, though, but it seems like teams have been getting better at dealing with Doom. I also don't think he was that impactful in some of the games Vici Gaming had it in the grand finals of TI4. And maybe teams are just finding a way of shutting him down in the laning phase and then just taking control in the mid game before he really comes online. We'll see if it's going to work out that way in this game. Navi going to get Dendi his puck though by or never mind, actually, it's probably an offlane puck for Funnick.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Though it's hard to say. All 3 of these heroes are pretty flexible. They could position one the Death Prophet. Doom could really go in any of the lanes, and Puck could either be mid or in the off lane. Little hard to guess, especially with some new faces around the Navi lineup. I don't know, which one of these heroes strikes you as the most Dendi hero?
Puck would be his go-to hero, and he doesn't really play Death Prophet that much, but I still think he has done it in a couple of games. And the cool thing about this draft from Navi is exactly what you're saying, that the 3 cores are actually pretty flexible. I would say apart from Death Prophet, they could all go to all 3 lanes. The Death Prophet, you generally don't want to offlane that, at least unless it's a tri-lane, but even then, she wants levels, so you want her to be a solo. But the Puck can offlane or mid or safe lane, so can Doom, and Death Prophet can go in 2 of the lanes. So we'll see based on who picks the heroes, I guess. But that means Alliance don't really know what they're dealing with. Is it an offlane Puck? Is it an offlane Doom? And is the Death Prophet mid or position 1?
Yeah, the beauty of the draft. Doom can even play a position 4 here and spend some time in the jungle and have a position 5 Skywrath. Maybe not the best use of the Doom, but it's certainly a possibility to keep Alliance guessing. And Navi will have the luxury of the final pick to decide what they want to do. They'll ban out the Pugna, and that opens up an Invoker for Alliance to pick up, and they will grab it without a moment's hesitation.
I'm curious to see who plays that for Alliance. This has been... It's one of the heroes that I think Alliance picked in some stages of their history, but not really that much consistently compared to other teams. I think they just felt like they didn't get enough out of it with their playstyle. It also felt like it was one of the heroes that S4 was less comfortable on in the past, in comparison to his Magnus, his Puck, and other trademark heroes of his, maybe even the Clockwork he played in quite a few games. But at this point, Alliance with 2 stand-ins, one of them being Chessie, who played core at least both games yesterday. Perhaps he's going to be on the Invoker this time, because I don't see either Loda or Bulldog playing this hero at all. It doesn't really suit their player profiles. And, well, we'll see if I'm right about it. It's going to be a Treant last, though, for Navi, so it is definitely not a Jungle Doom, and it is going to be Dendi on the Death Prophet as it looks, and Chessie will be on Invoker indeed.
Okay, and that puts Hvost on the Doombringer, so he'll be in the position 1, Funnick on the offlane Puck. I am very excited to see Chessie on the Invoker. Of course, he's the Han Trash that everyone's been talking about. He's the talk of the scene right now, and Invoker is a hero that has no counterpart in Heroes of Newerth, not one that's even remotely similar. So we'll see if he's boned up on his Invoker and well-practiced, but this will be a real treat for our first match of the day here, Synderen.
It's a hard Invoker game, too, I want to point out. He's playing against triple Silence in Doom. You need to keep your distance, or you're just not getting spells off in this game, unless you have a BKB. But even then, you can get doomed. But still, I would say this is a tough Invoker game. His lane itself, no matter who he plays against, I don't think is going to be that difficult. There's no really hard lane for him to face in that mid, which I'm assuming he will be taking. But we'll see how that all works out once they put the lanes. At the very least, we can introduce the rosters for the teams. So Alliance, currently heading down toward the Radiant Jungle, will be trying to perhaps contest or at least block off some spots here. It's going to be Aki leading the charge and the Witch Doctor, Chessie on the Invoker. Loda will be playing the Faceless Void, Admiral Bulldog on Nature's Prophet, clap if you're surprised. Yep, that's silence. And Misery will be playing as the Wraith King.
Yeah, absolutely. A 5-hero smoke as they rotate down past the Roche Pit, and appears they'll invade the Radiant Jungle. We see a little line on the mini-map here. They are scouting it out with the Treant, so they know this area down bottom is semi-safe. FNG may walk right into it, though. He wanted that Treant. He'll grab it, but it'll cost him everything. Oh, boy. FNG gets punished for his greed and falls for the bait. That'll be an easy first blood for Alliance, and it's actually Chessie on the Invoker who gets the bonus gold. Not so shabby.
Such a classic bait, running the Treant into the smoke gank on level 1. Or not the hero Treant, but the Prophet Treant.
Yeah.
Guiding, yeah, actually killed the Treant with a Treant there. Kind of, almost, I don't know.
Some swift justice, yeah.
I don't know. I'm trying to find the word, but I don't remember what it's called.
They'll put down a Magic Bush ward here in the jungle and block a couple of camps while they invade and get that first blood. Radiant will get a couple of wards down, one to get some bottom vision on the rune, and one lane ward here in the mid to get some vision on the top rune as well. Speaking of runes, it is Bulldog that gets the illusion here at the 0-0 mark, and he will head up top. FNG again, he wants these illusions, and he'll chase him down. Bulldog comes back for one of those cheeky little auto attacks, just trying to harass him down, even makes some baby treants here to give FNG a run for his money, and he will push the tree back. It's getting interesting up here. Some tree-on-tree action, Synderen. Out comes
he
the
wants
leech seed,
revenge
though.
after that first blood already.
Vanscore coming in.
Good damage coming out. Actually, Vanscore here with a concussive shot. That could be a return kill right here.
Whoa. Big leafy tree. FNG just branches him down. That 85 base auto attack. Too much for the Bulldog to handle, and Navi will level it out, and wow, FNG finds some vengeance here in the top lane.
Very nice gank here coming in. And also Bulldog trying to cut through here, but was not successful. They were on his tail. And of course, trained with boots first is a very strong support. Just Leech Seed lasts for so long. Like you said, he hits very hard. And with the 350 move speed he has with the boots, pretty much no hero, at least none of the heroes on Alliance really have a chance of escaping him, bar the Void. So he has a very easy time just clomping down a target.
Yeah, maybe if Bulldog had gone boots first, he would have had a slightly better chance to survive, but without the boots, it's nigh impossible. It's rough stuff. Let's introduce this Radiant side, though, before more kills come out. We've got Navi, Funnick in the safe lane on the Fairy Dragon Puck. That'll put Dendy mid on the Death Prophet, and here we have an aggro try that we see once again going on to Bulldog. This should be another kill. He'll try and TP out, and they don't have the damage. He'll TP back, and he survives. It will be FNG on the Treant, as we've seen Havost on the Position 1 Doom, and that gives us Van score here on the Skywrath. But, yeah, no interrupts until they get that level death, and usually you don't see a point come into that until a few more levels come out onto the field for the Doombringer.
This is a very interesting laning matchup we've got here. It's very unusual that teams run a dual lane off lane like this in a 2-on-1, as Alliance are doing right now, but the effect of it is that they can keep Funnick on level 1 because Witch Doctor is such a strong auto-attack res hero just as Funnick cracks level 2. But okay, they keep him low on level at the very least, and Loda gets complete free farm. At the same time, the 1-on-1 in mid is a fairly even matchup, Death Prophet against Invoker. And then up top, we've got an off-lane Doom with double support from Navi, which is also incredibly unusual.
We've got an invisible tree here in the mid.
Well,
he's stalking the Invoker. He's got the Leech Seed ready. He wants it, but will he get it? Oh, maybe not. There is a Skywrath Mage standing on a Radiant Ward there, but here we go. Leech Seed onto Chessie. Out comes the damage from the Skywrath. Dendy coming forward with a Crypt Swarm. A few more auto attacks ought to bring him down, and that'll do it. FNG may pay with his life. No mana for a living armor. As Bulldog comes in, but nope, he'll walk away. In comes Ake to intercept. No boots on him, and FNG will have the movement speed advantage, and he'll make it out just fine.
And perhaps the most important thing about these early ganks from Navi and the way they've put their lanes here is how little Admiral Bulldog is getting. This Prophet is extremely poor at the 3-minute mark. He's got 1 CS, he died once and got 1 assist, and he's level 2.5. So that's one thing they definitely accomplished. Now, they did have to pay a lot for it in the bottom lane with how Funnick isn't getting much either. He hasn't got a last hit yet, as a matter of fact. But if he gets this kill on Ake now suddenly, then this could change that lane completely. Not going to die for it. A little bit too risky.
Yeah, Witch Doctor is, he reminds me of Bristleback a little bit, where you think you can commit to the kill, and that Voodoo Restoration puts out a surprising amount of sustained healing, especially that value point in the early levels, and I see why Funnick didn't go for it. Would have been close, but I don't know that he would have had the damage to bring him down. Doesn't have any points in Waning Rift yet. It's all about the Illusory Orb. But here they're going on to Ake as Van score rotates. He's low on mana, but just harassing the Witch Doctor back. And honestly, Ake is not too much worse for wear. That Voodoo Restoration doing some work.
It's still a great rotation here from Navi, accomplishing. They get a kill in the mid lane. They don't just rest after that kill. They make sure to try and get more out of it. And actually, they're going to get a kill on Misery here.
Yeah,
overextension coming out from Alliance.
Wow, they went in on Dendy, and that was such an easy
turnaround. They're getting Chessie too. This is huge. Dendy really close to that kill. If he had Phase Boots, he would have probably committed for that one. But
yeah. Wow.
But Funnick is back in the game because of the rotation from Skywrath. It didn't get them a kill, but it gave Funnick 4 CS, a full level of experience, and, well, You could just tell how starved Bulldog is. He's starting to play in the enemy jungle at 4 minutes, and he might just get to pay for it right here. I think he will.
Yeah,
he doesn't have mana for a Sprout or a Teleport. He doesn't even have Sprout.
He has a Salve. That'll buy him some time. In comes the heal from Ake, and there's a Sunstrike that flies through. It'll be off the mark. Now Funnick's in trouble as Loda joins the party. Illusory Orb out, looking for the kill on Bulldog still. Phase Shift, one more auto attack, brings him down, makes it a 1-for-1. Still, great news for the Puck. He got the kill first, which means he gets all that juicy experience and, of course, all that bonus gold.
And at the same time, both Dendy and Havost are getting really good farm. The trade-off here is the farm on the Faceless Void of Loda. But if you look at the middle lane CS, just isolating the farm in that lane, Chessie is 11 for 2 against 26 for 16 on Dendy, handily winning that mid lane one-on-one matchup. Of course, did have a little bit of help early on as well with the gank, but very convincing performance so far from the Death Prophet.
Yeah, absolutely. Now in the top lane, Havost and FNG getting a little aggressive, perhaps looking to pressure Loda, but that elusive Faceless Void will not be easy to shut down. Dendy's doing a lot of damage at this tier 1 tower mid. Vanscore will come in, and usually that first DP ult doesn't yield in a tower kill straight up, but here there's not much the Invoker can do. Hoping for a deny, can't find it. It's actually Vanscore that finishes off the tower. But that's a 6-minute tower push, and Dendy feeling the benefits here, as I think Phase Boot should be coming out pretty soon. Yep, and his Magic Wand.
It is indeed really unusual that Death Prophet gets to use a good ultimate this early on. A lot of the times you even see Death Prophet not skilling it until level 8.
Yeah.
We often see Death Prophets going for the 3-0-4 build and then the ultimate, but in this game, Dendi saw the opening in the map. He knew that he could try to go for that tower, and really surprising to see that Alliance didn't do anything about it, actually. They could have tried to defend it, but they didn't. Instead, they're going to get Havost up top as the first part of the trade, but is there going to be a follow-up here?
Yeah, Doom's already come out onto Loda, so no chrono for him. He doesn't have the mana for it anyhow. FNG uses the leech seed onto Misery, and now the support comes in. Dendi's joined the party, and Misery will fall. Out comes the chrono, but there's just no follow-up damage. Ake's on the outside lane in the auto attacks. They will bring down Vanscore. Bulldog comes up, Crypt Swarms fly out. They ping out Loda as if they want to chase him down, but I don't know how easy this will be. Dendi does have a double damage and a set of phase boots. Power treads up on Loda, so he is pretty speedy as well. And Dendi will just go for a few auto attacks here, and he'll be forced to back out. Wraith King TP's in. 2 points in the Wraith Fire Blast. And there is potential for a counter kill here as Navi will commit to this. They've got an Exorcism up in about 5 seconds. A lot of damage onto Loda. Vanscore in the perfect position for the Time Walk, and that will secure the kill. Now they find Misery once again, and he seems to be in no man's land. Nowhere for him to go. He'll get picked off. That's a double kill for Vanscore as Navi clean it up, and they might be able to grab this Tier 1 tower out of this if Alliance don't throw more resources this top lane's way.
It's kind of been the name of the game for many of the games we've seen from Navi recently, just this extreme early game aggression that they got famous for a long while ago. It seems like they're going back to their roots, playing these extreme roaming supports very early on, looking for kills in all lanes, and they've been very, very successful. Now they get their second tower, by the looks of it, 7.5 minutes in. And they're not even playing a pushing lineup. We're not seeing the classic Navi Enchantress plays or anything like that early on. The pushing is coming from Death Prophet ultimate only. And that's scary for Alliance, because at this point in the game, I don't think they were imagining having lost a single tower, but they've lost 2 and more kills, as well as a Puck now sitting on almost a Blink Dagger at 8 minutes with the start he had in the lane.
Yeah, they've created so much space for him, and all of that tower gold has paid huge dividends. Throws out a Dream Coil to slow down Misery. Won't connect on Loda, but Funnick will be just fine as he makes some space in the lane. Yeah, 2 DP ults, 2 towers. A rarity indeed to see that, but Navi have been more than successful utilizing Dendi's Death Prophet. Now he'll rotate down bottom, even has an Illusion Rune to commence the pushing. They will clear out the creep wave and start chipping at this tower. Ultimate still not cooled down yet. It looks like Dendi will just move into a bit of a race car build here, straight into the Yules with that Void Stone. And now Loda comes forward. Chrono onto 2. Sunstrike will fly through. Hits on Dendi, but he's pretty damn tanky. FNG is there. Has a living armor. Not enough to keep him alive. But now they'll turn and try and take a fight. Funnick throws out the Waning Rift. Orbs away. This is a 5-hero rotation from Alliance. Now Vanscore and FNG caught inside of a Sprout. And one of them at the very least will fall. Vanscore gets finished off. FNG, no point in that Nature's Guise. Now he gets stunned up. Nowhere to go. And he will fall. It ends up being a 3-for-0 exchange. A huge rotation from Alliance, but it proves successful as they pick up quite a few kills.
Yeah, they moved down their entire team, and I think in this situation, Navi a little bit too greedy. They didn't have the Exorcism this time. They had Illusion Runes, and I think Loda was actually inside their vision the whole time. It was day. So they saw Loda waiting behind here, and it was just a matter of time before he got his Chronosphere ready and jumped in on them. Great timing on the Chrono, perfect positioning. They got the Sunstrike, TP in from Prophet, and that's something Alliance's lineup is really good at, is when they start the fights with the Chrono, they have so many things to take the fights on their terms. They have Global Sunstrike, they have Global Teleport, Wrath of Nature, and then they have follow-up stuns from Witch Doctor and Wraith King. So fighting after the Chronosphere is over is really difficult for Navi, even if they don't lose a hero directly in it. Just the follow-up is going to be hard to deal with, but they have a big lead so far, so they can... Yeah. It's okay for them to lose 3 heroes, but they need to be careful with not making too many mistakes, because Alliance will exploit it if they start getting farm on the Nature's Prophet.
And here we see the Hand of Midas coming out onto Loda right around the 10-minute mark. Not the fastest Midas, but certainly well-timed. And as you mentioned, if they concede a few too many unnecessary deaths, that Void will really accelerate in the farm and be a serious force to be reckoned with. Navi group up and finish off the bottom Tier 1 towers. That will make it 3-0 in total tower count. And they didn't have to use the Exorcism, so now they can continue pushing and pop the ultimate if they're so inclined, and possibly even take a skirmish down here. Funnick will pick up his Blink Dagger at the side shop, and that is a huge piece of initiation that Navi were lacking in previous fights. Misery, also now level 6, does have Reincarnation, which is another big tool for Alliance. See some harassment come his way. TP's coming in. Alliance will make a defense here. The tree off to the side. Silence onto Loda as he hops forward. Chrono not up quite yet. Dream Coil on 2. and it's just a defensive Dream Coil as Navi are trying to make the escape. Vanscore will try and TP home, but not happening. Cold Snap interrupts it. Sunstrike flies through, and Invoker secures that kill. And Navi will just concede a 1-for-0 trade following that Tier 1 tower.
It's very nice to see how much confidence Misery plays with the moment he has Reincarnation. This is exactly how you're supposed to play Wraith King in this kind of game. If you're in a position where you know you have the follow-up of a Chronosphere a few seconds later, Misery can willingly just sacrifice his life to make the fight break out, because he knows that the following fight will be on Alliance's terms. And just moving forward, he's like a wall that just pushing Navi back because they don't want to initiate on him, and they can't stay around either, because then he's going to stun them. So great aggression coming out from him. It's going to secure them at a Tier 1 tower here as well, but the question is, can Navi get the trade in mid? Chrono wasn't even expended, though, for Alliance, so they have the opportunity to maybe try to fight mid, but they might be too late.
Yeah, definitely. The Glyph comes out straight away, but this tower already taking heavy damage, and Exorcism living up to its reputation here as this tower gets completely crippled. There is a Yule Scepter on the way on the Navi Courier, coming the way of Dendi, and it looks like Navi will just rotate up top. Alliance did get the Tier 1 tower in the bottom lane, but a Tier 2 for Tier 1. Navi will be happy with that trade, and they can still do some decent damage to this top tower. Already at half health, they know the Glyph is not available, and Alliance will come to its defense. They've smoked up, and they are ready to take a fight. Still Reincarnation available on Misery.
Top tower is under attack.
Yeah, they will want to take this fight, but once again, I think they're going to be too late here. Or maybe they can secure the deny, but the tower is definitely going down. Havost, being a little bit greedy here, wants to try to get the tower, won't get it.
Yeah, Sunstrike flies through. Living Armor has come out. The tower does not get denied. Loda with a Chrono on 1. Funnick off to the side is completely isolated. There's your Death Ward, but it gets interrupted almost right away. Beautiful Dream Coil coming out from the puck. Funnick making big plays here. Where's the follow-up damage, though? Misery in the front lines. Throws a stun onto Dendi. There's the reset. If only they had an Exorcism here, this would be a completely different fight. Finally, the Reincarnation comes down. Ake gets picked off around the side, but Havost in the front lines trying to finish off Loda. Throws out the Doom. Not enough to keep Dendi alive, and it will be a deny onto Loda. Now Bulldog on the run. They will try and chop him down. The Sprout buys him some time. They have no vision. Finally, the trees fall, and they will be able to bring him down. It's a 2 for 3, soon to be a 2 for 4, as Misery, silenced, will fall. And Alliance do not find the better of this exchange. Sure, they kill the Death Prophet, and they find the deny on the Doomed Void, but still, not a successful fight, nor did they find the tower deny.
Yeah, that just goes to show how much pressure is on Loda in this game right now to perform, because if he doesn't land a really good Chrono, I don't think they can take the fights. It's the amount of counter initiation Navi has is just way too much. It was an exceptional overgrowth play there by FNG. I think he rooted all 5 members of Alliance, and the moment the Death Ward came out from Ake, he got blink silenced by Funnick as well. So great performance from Navi in that particular fight. They were, as you said, without Exorcism, and they still won the fight 4-2.
Yeah.
And they weren't even full health and mana when they went into that either, because they had committed some stuff to the tower, and the Doom came out very late from Havost too. Yeah. It was not a part of the beginning of the fight, so convincing play right here.
Yeah, one of the other issues is Alliance are double Midas right now. One on Chetsy's Invoker and one on Loda's Void. They're just not in fighting form. Sure, they have an okay amount of farm, but look at their inventories. They have no core items completed. But you look at the Radiant side, they have 3 Blink Daggers now, a set of drums, almost a mech on Vanscore, and that Yule Scepter on Dendi, which bought him a lot of time in that fight. The inventories are just telling a totally different story. Sorry?
And a 10,000 gold lead.
Yeah, that too. That helps.
It's kind of a big deal as well.
Yeah.
They've taken 5 towers for the price of 1. And even without that tower gold, just looking at the farm values, look at the CS. Doom is 89 against the 68 of Void, so that's somewhat close, but the mid lane, Dendi, 79 against the 40 of Chessy. He's just been completely outclassed so far in this game farm-wise. He's still 3-1-6 though, so his kill attendance has been great from Alliance, but not really been finding too much farm, and it's very uncharacteristic as well to see Bulldog with this little farm in a 15-minute game. He still doesn't even... He's far from his Maelstrom even at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he just has so little. He did not even go Hand of Midas. That's how far behind he is. He's been skipping the Midas more recently, but yeah, very acharacteristic indeed. This will be an easy Roche for the Radiant side. They use the Exorcism to secure it, but Roche does fall pretty quickly, and Alliance don't even try to contest it. Instead, they'll set their sights on the top Tier 1 tower. Navi will smoke up and come towards the defense. And they may bump into Ake here, who may be picked off as a Strangler. He does have an invisibility rune on, so he'll be okay for now. But whoa, in the top lane, Faceless Void caught inside the Dream Coil. I caught the very tail end of it. We'll see a Doom come out on the Misery here. No Reincarnation for him. So that will be 2 for 0 as Alliance start to get picked apart.
It was a really good play at the top tower. They Yule the Void with the Death Prophet, and the moment he drops down from the Yules, Blink Silence from Funnick, drops the coil, and they just nuke him down. Very textbook play coming out from Navi here, and the bonus kill on Misery to just top it off, and even defending their tower. It looks like Alliance, they look like a team that's out of options. The whole map is just falling apart. They have one tower remaining outside the base. Bulldog cannot play split push at all because he simply doesn't have the raw power and speed to do it yet. And Navi are looking like a team that wants to start breaking the base at 16 minutes against Alliance in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, they can do it. Alliance just don't have a lot of anti-push tools in their arsenal right now. I mean, if one of these Midases was a mech, maybe they could take these team fights a little easier, but this is rough. Navi have so much momentum now. And two plate mails coming out, one on Prophet and one on Doom. One will be a Shiva's, and I reckon one of them will probably be an Assault Karas, a surprisingly decent item on the Death Prophet, though I'm not sure who will grab which, as DP has also just picked up a casual Vitality booster for now to grab some extra HP. Exorcism used, and they'll go into the Tier 3 tower.
Yeah, they know they can expose Dendi here. He has the Aegis. Of course, that will stop his Exorcism if he gets killed, and it might be worth it for Alliance to try to go for that play, but just the threat of the counterplay coming in, it's keeping Alliance away right now. And with this living armor, Dendi, it's very hard to bring down. He's almost taken half of the tower. There comes the initiation, though.
Yeah, Overgrowth on 3, the Dream Coil as well, and Mystic Flare to follow up. It's a massacre in the Alliance base. Loda will buy back straight away. He TPs to the tower and wants to find some vengeance here. The Yules! As soon as he's looking for it, he can't get the Chrono off. He gets silenced now. Doom comes out on Misery, but they just keep Loda completely on the back foot. Even if he burns the Chrono now, it'll be just for a solo Hibos. Certainly not what Alliance were looking for. They will hold the base, but this is an expensive hold. They get 2 kills, but they forced a buyback onto Loda, and that will really eat into his savings.
Now, was that the only buyback? Yes, it was. So,
not a bad hold.
Yeah, pretty decent hold, actually. I thought that was looking worse for Alliance. They only lost half the tower. They still have their glyph as well. And they took what I believe ended up being a 2-for-2 fight with the buyback, of course. So a slight loss for them. But all in all, with that initiation coming out from Funnick, very beautiful as well, might I add. Double silence, double coil. Then they overgrowth, 2 heroes next to each other and just the Skywrath's Mystic Flare on it. Very, very well done. But Alliance with a good counterplay too. They keep the lead at about a 10,000 gold and the experience at about 4K. It's definitely a game that they can come back from, but what I'm looking for from Alliance is when do they ever get a chance at pushing towers? That's where I feel like the real comeback is when they can get some map control back. And Navi are constantly across the river. They're on their side of the map, and that means even if Alliance win a fight, there's no collateral to be gained.
Yeah, and just looking at warding, the Dire Vision right now, they have 2 wards down in the middle of the map, one at the high ground in the mid lane, and then one at the high ground about the top rune. And honestly, I mean, they get some intel when they're invading the jungle, but there's just not a hell of a lot they can do aside from... I guess at this point, they kind of just have to turtle up, farm the small camps in their jungle. Well, I shouldn't say small camps. The close camps, the big in here, and then the medium camp. Ward up, try and farm Ancients, and just turtle in the base. I mean, there's really not much else they can do at this point, other than just try and find a baseline of farm onto Bulldog before he can start ratting around. He is now close to the Maelstrom, has the Mithril Hammer, and just about 600 gold in savings. So that will be an item that will allow him to at least pressure these side lanes when Navi group up like that.
I think if Alliance just hide inside their base and try to get whatever farm they can there, they're going to lose the game. I think the way they can make a comeback is to start using a couple of smokes that are unpredictable for Navi and try to find pickoffs. Because if they accept the fact, that Navi is just going to be shoving in their lanes one at a time and then eventually get a tower with DP, it's just a matter of time before the base falls. And they don't split push fast enough. Yes, Bulldog does have the Maelstrom, but it's going to take him another 10 minutes before he starts becoming really dangerous for these split pushes. And that amount of time should easily give Navi a lane of barracks if they're not halted in another way by means of a gank.
Yeah, it's a fair point. So maybe this is a situation where more risk is warranted. They are dire, and it's unfortunate they can't really capitalize on that advantage. But it'll be a long time before Roche comes back up, and I don't think it's something they can really count on. Invoker now grabs a Force Staff as his first item following the Hand of Midas. It is a step in the right direction. We talked about in the draft how difficult of an Invoker game this is, and that mobility tool will make his life a little bit easier, but still not particularly scary. It looks like we will see some more tower exchanging. Alliance will try to commit to this top tier 1 tower, which, surprise, surprise, is back up to full health, compliments of living armor, and Navi will just group up and finish off this bottom tier 2. They have the Exorcism, but they'll save it for the base.
Yeah, Alliance are going to need their glyph now if they don't go back right away. They might not be able to trade the towers because they have to start getting in position. If they go for this trade, well, this is starting to get borderline extremely risky.
Oh,
That's
and there's the Radiant Glyph. Oh, wow. Dire Glyph comes out as well, but Exorcism already going to work. Creeps in the front lines, and they're just not in the best position, as you mentioned. The top tower will fall to the Dire, and Navi will start to back out. Treant is not with them, so they are at a 5v4 and will be forced back. I thought that might have been a little bit worse for Alliance, but their Glyph keeps them safe. They lose about a third of the health on the tower, and unfortunately for Navi, they don't secure that tower deny. But again, Alliance minimize their losses.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad for Alliance. I was worried for them that they would lose more health on that bottom tier 3 tower, pardon me, but they managed to keep it above half, and they trade a tier 1 for tier 2, which of course isn't the ideal trade, but under the circumstances this game is in right now, I think it's actually pretty okay for Alliance. Any sort of tower trade is pretty good. And then it's just a matter of using that additional space you get on the map to try to move out and catch people off guard. It's there's a couple of issues that Alliance have to deal with right now. I believe they're a mechanism down. First off, yeah, they don't have a mech, and there's a mech on the Skywrath Mage of Vanscore. Even, actually, the position 4 hero for Navi carrying the mech as well as double null here. He didn't go for the arcane boots that we usually see on Skywrath, but with double null, he has the mana pool to use a mech to. I like this build a lot. It's one I feel like we don't see that much, and maybe one that I'll start using myself. But it's just looking really good for Navi. I guess there's no saying against it here.
Yeah, and even more items have come out since the last skirmish. Now a Shiva's Guard up on Havost, and even Dendi working towards a Heart of Tarask and just a recipe away from having some serious HP here. Just picks up the casual plate mail and a pretty big value piece right now. That's one of the areas that DP lacks in terms of effective HP, and that'll take him from 5 armor to 15 and really add to his survivability against these right clicks, and also the big damage coming out from that Death Ward outside of the Chrono. So Navi still continuing to find huge item progression. On the Dire side, they found a little bit. Void working on an Aghanim Scepter, not too far away, but still has a little farming to do on that front. We talked about the Force Staff and the Maelstrom on Bulldog, but that's about it. 1,500 gold up on the Bulldog, close to a Blink Dagger. But again, still needs some space to farm before that next round of items come out. Phonic in the bottom lane will blink forward, and that'll force Loda into the trees as he clears up the creep wave.
Yeah, Alliance are looking for whatever they can right here. They want to try and push this tower, but they're showing a lot of respect for Navi here since they don't know what's going on the map. They have no vision in the top half. Now they're going to see Dendius there, but for all Alliance knows, there could be 4 other heroes just waiting here in the bottom lane. Now, FNG is also at the top lane together with Dendi, and if Alliance don't accomplish anything here, they have to get out of there, and they will now, because the top lane is being pushed in by Dendi. A lot of time essentially wasted here by Alliance, apart from this. Like, they got some map control in the Radiant jungle about 1.5 minutes ago, and this is the kind of stuff that they have to do. They have to try to place some more risky wards so that they can get out on the map and get some objectives taken, because just getting 1 or 2 kills on their own side of the map is not going to cut it. Also, when is Roche respawning? We're looking at a little bit left on the Aegis here, or never mind.
Yeah, we don't know how long the RNG part is yet. But we'll see. It could be coming up soon. Could still be another 2 or 3 minutes away. Maybe that's what Navi is holding out for as well. Looks like Puck is pretty close to a Yule's Scepter. And there's also a gem that's been picked up on FNG's Treant. So we'll see Navi move around and clear out some of these wards. If he walks by, looks like he will find this Observer and Sentry sitting in the jungle. So all that hard work from Alliance to plant those wards will evaporate here. They only have 1 Observer left, and it is on the high ground outside of the Roche Pit. And it is getting pinged out right now, so maybe they are privy to its location. Yep, they certainly are. FNG will blink up and finish it off. Say goodbye to your vision,
stand
Alliance.
here for 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Well,
just a Treant on vacation, you know.
Pretty exposed to ganks, but nothing's coming. He knows that Alliance are top. He could see it from from the creep wave, at least that Loda's there, and he wouldn't be there alone.
He sees Chessie in the jungle, so feels semi-safe at least. Rolls the dice, and this time he does not crap out. Well,
I still like how Alliance are doing this. Like, I feel like they could perhaps try to hunt for kills a little bit more, but they're at the very least not being extremely scared and just camping inside their base, because I don't think it's going to work. So, at the very least, they're starting to push out other lanes and at least putting some pressure somewhere, but it's still Navi controlling 2 out of 3 lanes. The top lane currently being pushed in here by Alliance. Wow, are Navi really going to go for this play? They're 4 against 5 without their Doom.
Yeah, and Doom is he's kind of their initiator to start off and prevent the Chrono from coming out. Havost will try and defend bottom, and maybe Navi are thinking Havost can do a defense on the 1v3 and they can pressure this tower. Maybe not. Navi seem a little indecisive here. They will just clear out the Dire Ancients, or, well, Navi, no. Dendi just throws an auto attack, and that's it. They will back out. Vanscore still camped out in the trees. Sort of an
Yeah, not
awkward
sure what
rotation.
he's waiting for here, because there's absolutely no backup to be gained right now. He's just waiting. Well, probably we're going to be pushing here in 30 seconds. Okay, now he's leaving.
They hop in on Havos, but the Doom comes out onto Loda before he can get off the Chrono, and now he'll just get chopped down by the Doom. The Sprout will seal Loda's fate. Bulldog tries to TP out. That won't happen. The Mystic Flare, well, will not work quite well with that Yules, but still they interrupt the TP out. Bulldog still falls off around the backside. And now they'll proc the Reincarnation from Misery. They'll bring him down handily. That will be a 3-for-0 trade. Just a disastrous engagement from Alliance. That really couldn't have been much worse.
The moment Loda gets doomed, I don't think Alliance can win a fight. That's the position they're in. Of course, their 5 heroes weren't all there. There were only 3, but
yeah,
it's just such a crucial part of their team fight right now to have that Chronosphere. And Havost with a quick doom just takes it away from them. There's no fighting after that point. Alliance tried to get out with the Prophet and with the Wraith King, but not successful. And the question is if they're going to be losing the base now. Exorcism is still available, and it's still only level 2 though, so it's not the worst problem for Alliance here. It gets so much stronger with every level up, but
yeah, there is a glyph available here. So Alliance do have a small chance. No reincarnation, though, and that's a big one. It's only level 1, won't be up anytime soon. Glyph comes out straight away, and we'll zoom out here to see the positioning of everyone. Navi spread apart. They know the Chrono is available. That is one good thing that Alliance has. Even though they failed that last fight, they did not use the Chrono. Loda pressing forward, looking for the right opening. Doom is on cooldown for another 15. He'll find 3. Navi, or Dendi on the front lines. The Death Ward doing a lot of damage, but Dendi's just too tanky. He'll survive. Gets off the Yules. Now the Wraith King and the Void get turned around on. Bulldog comes in. Dendi's
returning as
still alive. All the ghosts will heal him back up. Chessie gets picked off now. Bulldog falls. Buybacks all around. But is it enough? Oh, wow. 4 buybacks burned by the Dire. Their tier 3 tower will fall. Navi will continue to commit. There's the Dream Coil. Out on Loda and Ake. Even a Doom on top of Loda. That'll be the end of Ake. Loda gets completely destroyed. Triple kill for Dendi. That's it. GG, well played. And I think appropriately timed from Alliance. What else can they do?
Yeah, what a fantastic performance from Navi in this game. Alliance were looking really good yesterday, but wow, Navi just completely outclassed them, at least in this game. That was just a different level of play. Their movement was better. They got a lot out of their lanes. The early rotations and the super aggression from Navi, especially the 2 early towers, I think were crucial to this game. It reduced the map control of Alliance. They kept Bulldog's profit to an absolute minimum. It's very rare we see Bulldog so starved on the Nature's Prophet, but just kudos all around to Navi. I think all of them played an exceptional game, and it just seemed like Alliance never found any sort of... They never really found any sort of comeback. Like, they were always trading almost even, but never to their own advantage. I think it was pretty much a steady growth from Navi the whole game, so wow, looking good.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to comment on those early towers, I think you're right, and the key facet there is it allowed Funnick recovery for 2 reasons. All that extra bonus gold, but also it pulled the attention from Alliance towards the top lane, and Funnick found huge recovery. We looked down, and it was like a 9-minute Blink Dagger, 10-minute Blink Dagger, which was very surprising, given how rough of a laning stage Funnick had, but El Clasico, some new rosters, but doesn't disappoint. An action-packed game to get things started. Not to worry, though, folks. We have 3 more games coming up today for Starladder EU Day number 2. Coming up next will be Team Secret versus Next KZ. They have a new name now. They are X Game KZ, but it is Next, as you would have known them in the last season. I'm Zyori, solo in the studio once again, and of course joined remotely by Synderen. You can follow us both on Twitter. You'll find those in the title of this broadcast, at Zyori TV and at Synderen Dota. We'll have about a 30-minute break or so. That was a quick one to get our day started, and Secret versus Next KZ coming up next.